Hey guys, back at the shop here. Today I'm going to tackle these top mounts and get these finalized. I have this welded in place, so that's the bottom. Also a couple other small things I'm picking away at today. You can see here, I took off my old steering wheel. Now I bought a hub last week. I'm on a search for a nice, or a halfway decent used steering wheel, Sparco, Momo, something like that. So in the meantime, I took my old wheel off in preparation for that. Very heavy. I'd say this whole wheel assembly with the airbag is at least 15 pounds maybe. So that'll be nice. And honestly, if anybody wants this steering wheel, I'll sell it cheap with the airbag. It's kind of looks like the outer will need to be rewrapped, but I think it's the M Sport wheel that came with the Z3, 2000 Z3. And for now, I'm just replacing it with this piece of crap. This is just a cheapo, would not use it in any way, shape, or form other than pulling a car in and out. But I want to sit in it and get a feel for the size of the wheel too, because as you can see, it is significantly smaller in diameter. And let's see what that diameter is. Okay, this looks to be a 320 millimeter steering wheel. And the stock one is 370 millimeter steering wheel. So with all that being said, we'll see if the 320 feels like it's going to be too small in this car and I want to bump up to like a 340 or whatnot. So I'm gonna pop this on, just see how the size feels. This wheel here did actually kind of almost hit my knees-ish. Not really hit my knees, but it created kind of a cramped area. We're gonna throw that wheel on now, get the back squared away. And then I actually posted an Instagram post last night on the front here. I was messing around with different styles, right? I had like angry eyes like that. We have just these. I kind of like this style. I like where this is going. However, I think I can improve on this shape a little bit. I think what needs to happen is I'm going to use a 1-inch tubing instead of the larger diameter tubing. And I'm going to try to terminate it more near the bend. When you stand back and look at the car, it kind of has a goofy look to it because these are almost too far forward. However, I'm not sure if that will look good. So I'm gonna bend up one. It's, you know, this tubing is real cheap for the small stuff. And we'll see how that looks on there. But this is my other option. I had these kind of angry eyes there. Some people like both. I don't know, I think both's a little much, but we'll see how it is. Well guys, I wound up switching up the headlight design quite a bit. So instead of using 1.25 inch, I downsized to 1-inch tubing. And instead of having it come in at a 90, I pretty much kicked it at a 45 and met this bend here. The problem I was having is visually it looked kind of weird having the tube stop and then this tube keep going and protruding out. So it looks a little cleaner when it kind of flows up into this tube and back down, in my opinion. Either way, I spent entirely too much time on this. I probably have 4 hours in the past day or so just trying to figure out these dumb headlights. But I need to commit to something, and this is what we're committing to at this point. They look awesome. They're gonna have a LED daytime running light strip coming up the outside edge here, so it's gonna have this like sharp looking deal. I have 2 pod headlights that are gonna just slide right in here. They're offset. As you saw in the previous video, one's a 3.5 inch and one's I think it was 2.5. So these are gonna be kind of cool looking little eyeball things, but it's looking pretty mean right now. I just pulled the intercooler out and we are going to do the radiator. There we go guys, that took all of about 30 seconds. I did not plan this at all, but the radiator actually almost fits perfectly in here. These are all tacked in. I still have to go and weld everything, but just to move the car around and stuff, I really don't even need a radiator. I'm only going, you know, 100 feet back, but that's pretty wild. Actually, it looks pretty cool too. So the only thing I'll need to do is I'll need to just kind of make a hose to connect that bottom one, but I got some scraps laying around that I can kind of tee in and kind of hack together for the time being, but I'm digging it. This is awesome. Well guys, we have a little bit of progress here. In between roll bar orders, I was able to weld up this whole front section. So this is all squared away. And right now, I pulled the wing out of the trailer and we're kind of seeing where it's gonna live. I have a few ideas, but somewhere right about there, it's hard to tell because the lift is in the way. So I want to center the wing kind of over the rear strut mounts and make the back almost flush with the cutoff here. And then I'm gonna go around front. Height-wise, I think I want to have it just the edges there, just in plane with the top here, and because this is going to have a hard top on it. So we'll see. I might have to go a little bit higher. I don't want all the wind, because this is going to be a functional piece, so I don't want all the wind just to come up and over the wing too. So I'm going to consult with some people that know more about this stuff than I do. I mean, I have a pretty good idea just by seeing cars and wind tunnels and stuff, but you know, I'm not a aerodynamic engineer, that's for certain. So what I'm going to do today is I have a S54 oil pan coming in, or that just came in. So today I'm just going to make, I think I'm just going to try to make the mounts for that. I'm pretty much going to take a piece of 1-inch tubing, make a U-bend, and just start on this tube and come back down to here. And instead of talking about it, I'm just gonna do it and show you how that's gonna look. Okay, I'm getting ready to bend my tubes for the rear spoiler mount here. And what I'm going to do is take a piece of 1-inch by 95 thousandths. I usually have, 65 thousandths I use for the 1-inch because it's a thinner tube, it's lighter. However, there's gonna be so much force on this, I really don't wanna have this thing wiggling around if possible, so I am gonna use a little bit heavier of a wall tube, and we'll see how that looks. Worst case scenario, we can run cables in an X to prevent it from, you know, wiggling around, but we'll see how tight it is once everything's there. So here's my tube, 1-inch by 95 thousandths DOM. We got our 1-inch tube die. And let me show you the angle we're gonna bend. What is it, 124-degree bend we're gonna make on this. So we'll probably bend it like 115, see how it looks on the car, and then we'll go back and keep bending it if we need a little more bend. So I'll underbend it and see how it looks. But yeah, that's my plan. And just so you can see what I'm talking about here. That's the angle we're trying to achieve. I know it's probably pretty hard to see here, but we're gonna come into this down tube, and then right where those vice grips are, that's where we're gonna try to hit in the top. Thankfully, we have a ton of adjustability, and nothing's really set in stone. As long as we make them equal to each other, we should be good. Well guys, this is what I'm looking at here, and I don't like it. It just looks goofy. Just with all the triangulation and all the sharp points and everything, having this radiused bowed out piece here just isn't working. I was gonna have this as like my mount, but it's just, it doesn't flow with the rest of the car. It's all aesthetics. This is totally strong and perfectly suitable for what we're doing. But I think I'm gonna go back to the drawing board on this and just straight tube it. And I think that will look a little more sharper and fit the rest of the car. So unfortunately, I kind of killed an afternoon messing with this and trying to come up with this idea. I thought it would look good, but it's just not really working. So not a big deal, just, you know, 20 bucks worth of tubing and time. But this needs to look right, so I think we're gonna go back and do something a little different here. And that's why you always tack weld things on. Ask me how I know. Okay, well check it out. I originally had these tubes for my wing mount, and I had them not nearly as bent. These are almost 180 degree bend. I think it was like 170 degrees. and it looks much better, and I'm very happy with it. So with that being said, I plasma cut out these brackets here. And let me show you how this is gonna fit. So I just have the wing up on the lift, just at the right spot and everything. And that sucker is gonna go right there. And I think that'll look pretty slick. It's not like my favorite thing, but also this whole wing setup is kind of wonky just because it's way far back, and you know, it just is what it is. So you gotta deal with it. So I'm gonna tack these on, and I'm gonna get the other side on, and let's roll this thing out and see how it looks with the wing on, because I think it's gonna look pretty wild. Pretty dramatic difference just visually. So let me get these on, and we'll be in business here. All right, just want to show you guys a little trick that I came up with, and I don't really come up with it, but just a quick way to do things. So we got 53.45 degrees on this. We need this one to match. So what I did was the bends are identical. I started them at approximately the same height, which is about 2 inches up from the my boxed in rear section here. And what I did was I just kept on notching the top part until we had approximately where we needed to be. Now let's grab the angle cube here. And at 2 inches up, there we go. 53.8. So what are we, 0.2 degrees off? Pretty darn good. So that will visually look, I mean, a degree or two, you won't notice, right? So anything in the 53 territory, I'm happy with, obviously. I'm not gonna get crazy here and nitpick a half a degree, but either way, with that being said, these will now look perfect, you know, looking at the side profile of it, they'll look real proper. So I'm gonna tack this on, get that other plate tacked on, vice grip it for now, and roll this thing out and see how it looks, because I'm really excited to see how this looks before we go further. Well, here it is. This is my first look as well as yours. I think once that radiator's in there and everything, oh man, this is pretty crazy. It is ridiculous. It's almost too ridiculous. I think it'll grow on me though. I think it kind of has to. Oh my god. What a crazy thing we're doing here. We'll see. Oh, this is ridiculous. I'm not sure if I'm in love with it, but it's kind of which direction we're going in. It'll grow on me, I'm sure. Main thing is just moving forward on this project, because we got to do that. Got to make that happen. Okay, I just tossed the radiator in it to get the full effect. Not sure how I feel about it yet. It kind of looks good from some angles, and other angles it's a little weird looking. Like that angle ain't too bad. The more I think about it, the more I think I'm gonna make it removable. We'll see. Uncharted territory, fellas. I have no idea what I'm doing here, and we're just kind of running and gunning, but I have to start committing to things because I can't have this project go on forever. And you know, at the end of the day, it's just gonna be what it's gonna be. So thanks for being on this journey with me. It's fun. It's fun. I talked to Laz, he said the wing should almost be bigger. He was saying, because I'm gonna be running some pretty wide wheels and tire setups, he was thinking the wing should be flush with the edge of the wheels and tires. I don't know. Either way though, I think I'm gonna make this removable. I think I'm gonna make bosses here and make it so you can through bolt this frame on. And that way, if I wanna run wingless, have a little shorty, I can do that, or I don't know. Just talking. Pretty crazy though. Okay, one thing I want to ask you guys your opinion on is how should I do this radiator? So I can make it sit kind of like that, you know, almost in plane with the rear X, or we could kind of sit it back like that, and then I could make a roof duct or something. It's hard to kind of hold it. I'm trying to get a side visual here, but just playing with different ideas. Let me know what you guys think on that. I mean, it looks a little sleeker like that. However, leaning back, I could definitely get an opportunity where a roof I have, I could make a scoop or a duct and just duct the air right, you know, just make a small little guy and duct it right into the radiator, and it'll just offer more cooling, because right now I'm just planning on putting a couple big fans on it and calling it a day. So let me know what you guys think on that. Not quite sure, but you know, I'm open to different opinions. Hey guys, thanks for watching this last video. I really appreciate your support. I actually have very big news for the channel that I want to share with you right now. Last night, actually, we just hit our thresholds and able to become monetized through YouTube. So what that means is we might be able to get paid to start doing this, which means that I can bring you gnarly projects. I can dedicate much more time. We'll see how it goes. I'm so new to this whole thing. I have no idea what this even means. And I don't know if it's something where, you know, I gotta have, you know, 100 bajillion views to even make it worthwhile or anything like that. But either way, it's very exciting, very promising, and I'm looking forward to it. On another note, with the car aspect, I know I told you I was going to be working on the rear of the car, probably the last 3 or 4 videos. I promise the next video we will button up the rear end as far as the shock mounts. I already did it, so I can promise that, and I already filmed it, so we're good there. But thank you guys so much. It's an awesome trip, and the car is getting really close to actually being finished chassis wise. Very excited to finish that, because that means we can start driving it, and we can start working out the bugs, and we can start doing the fun stuff, drift stuff, wheels, aesthetic stuff, things like that. So we're getting very close. I would say within the next, realistically, 2 weeks, we'll be, hopefully the cage will all be in primer and we'll be good to go. So thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.